Welcome to a special edition of the Toffee Blues podcast. My name's David. If you do know me, I'm sorry, but do get comfy because you won't want to miss this one. This week I spoke to a genuine Evertonian, a local lad who walked a path that most of us could only dream about. He made 121 appearances for the club that he loves, and it really was a privilege to speak to him. It was, of course, the one and only Michael Ball. So yeah, once again, firstly, thanks for just taking your time out to speak to us at the Toffee Blues. Certainly from a personal point of view, it's kind of a big deal for me because I started going the game around 97, which is, of course, when you broke into the team. So you were one of my idols when I was a young lad. Funny enough, I was thinking about this when I was doing a bit of research before our chat. There was an occasion where, when I was a younger lad, my dad used to take me and we had to kind of fluctuate between the top balcony and the family enclosure just so I could see what was going on. I always preferred the family enclosure just to be a little bit closer to the pitch and the players, and I always hoped I might get a grab at the ball. And there was this one time where it smacked the advertising board in front of us, and my dad quickly scooped it up and handed it over to me. I froze, of course, and it was yourself who was hurtling towards me. And we were losing at the time as well. I've ended up just throwing the ball about 20 yards away from you. And I just remember the whole ground booing and groaning. I think I was only about 6 and I was having nightmares about it for weeks. But I know. Listen, anyways, we know it was a great career you had. Played for the likes of Rangers, PSV, City. But of course it all started with Everton. So just where did your love of it first start with the club and how did you end up signing for them?
Well, the love of the club was basically from my family. My dad got a huge family, and since I was able to get out the house and watch the game, I think he used to take me when I was 3-4 years old. So I always went to games with my dad, and similar to yourself, it was family enclosure, then I'd be in the main stand and I'd be up and down. So I loved the club from basically day dot really, and then just obviously just go to the game with the family and just support the Blues. And obviously I was spoiled as a child because it was we were successful back then, and you know I've seen some good memories and some very memorable games that we still talk about now. So it was very easy, you know. The club close to my heart, and playing football was all as a kid, like everybody. Really, just loved playing football. Loved every time I went anywhere. I always had a ball with me, and just obviously playing for my local club, and it seemed to be standing out more than others, and got an opportunity to go to the other side of the park to play with the academy, because my local team, there was Hugh McCauley, who's a coach at Liverpool, asked me to go and train with them for a bit, and you know, which was great, getting good coaching off him and Stevie Highway, but he always made sure I only had me Everton kit or the England kit, so you know, they took a bit good stick. They used to give me a lot of stick, but I think they loved me loyalty, that I wasn't going to be swayed by putting that red top on, or so we always used to train with the Everton top on, and then there'd be a bib or something to try and hide it.
I do love that, to be fair.
So they were good times, and there's always a memory that when I was at Melwood at Easter, and we'd all having dinner, and I got invited to go and train for a couple of days with the youth team, and you're only say 12, 13 years of age, and John Barnes was in the canteen throwing peas at me, and I was thinking, I've rattled them already, so it was quite fun. But luckily enough, they all give me my father a phone call and said Howard Kendall wants to meet you, and that was just like a dream come true. Liverpool tried their best to keep me. Steve Diary was he's a top man and a top coach, and he tried to get Fowler in, McManaman in, Ian Rush, to persuade me to say, look, you can still support Everton, play for this club. I'm going, no, you don't realise I can't do that. And Graham Souness, the manager at the time, he sat me down and said, well, Michael, follow your heart, but you're English, I'm Scottish. I'm Liverpool, you're Everton. I don't think it could work out. And, I had a bit of a chuckle, and he just said, follow your heart, which was nice for them,
definitely,
but then I was never going to turn down an opportunity to go and meet Howard Kendall, and he asked for me mum and dad to come for a lunch, and I was panicking because all I've got is footy kit. You know, I didn't have any clothes. I didn't have a suit or anything. So what do you do? Ties. You know, it's stupid things that you don't think about. And went to a restaurant in Formby, Tea Chops at the time, and I've only got a small memory of it really. It's like before and after, because I wasn't allowed in the meal. I was having them sort of me started, and as a kid, you know, you go into these fancy restaurants, you don't know what you're eating, no, you don't. You sort of get the plainest thing possible, and then Howard basically said, "So do you want to play for our club then?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." So that was it, done.
So how old were you at this time?
I was 13.
13.
I was 13 then, and that was sort of, I got asked to go to the other side of the restaurant and help myself to the mini bar, but it was only Coke, so obviously. But you know what, I was too scared to even, or cheeky enough to even take one, so I just sat there for about 2 hours, and probably more on my own, while my mum and dad were having a nice drink, and my dad's probably telling Howard what team we should play. And,
tell him how to do the job.
So that was all fun and games, and my mum was a little bit word for word afterwards. And I just remember going, well, what's gone on? You know, have I signed? And, you know, also, near the end, you got to have to come back in and I signed my schoolboy form. So my dream was then, it was done. So I don't really know what happened with the 2 hours, what my mum and dad were saying, but we still talk about it there as one of the memorable days, and that was when we when it started getting serious, really, you know, as a kid. And then I was off to Lillishall then for 2 years, so I wasn't really part of the footy club. So you stay in Lillishall, there was Michael Owen, Wes Brown, and a few others, John Harley, who sort of made it a career. So I didn't actually start at the club properly. You come back at Easter and school holidays and play games for the A team and the B team and stuff like that, but I didn't actually start till obviously the YTS after school. And then that was sort of the serious part of it, where you're in the man's world type thing after school, and you've got to sort of earn your right to basically to make your debut, really, at first. But you've got to sort of gel with a lot of lads that I've never known, for 2 years, 3 years, to sort of come in from sort of the outside and fight for your place. So I was always sort of determined to do what I could to get into the team, and John Hurst and Ronnie Goodless was the coaches back then, but I didn't really stay with the youth team for long. I was probably around about the 3 months. As soon as I turned 17 in the October, obviously pre-season starts, say, July-ish, something like that, and by the October I was 17. Jimmy Gabriel was really good to me, put me straight through the reserves. So it wasn't a big reserve team at the time. There was only probably a handful of 6 or 7 lads, and then that would get filled with ex-players. No, not ex-players, the players that haven't been involved in the games of the weekend.
Of course.
It was a good. I spoke about it recently. You look back at the reserve team, sometimes there was Kanchelskis there, there'd be Grant, there'd be Parkinson, there'd be Paul Rideout, there'd be Mark Hattiger, I should mention it. There was quite a few, big name players. Obviously, that was the way it was back then. If you didn't play it on the Saturday, you'd have to keep your match sharpness up. So, Vinny Stanways was there, you learned a lot, very quick. Being involved with them in training, they were so quick and so ahead of you. But I was just so determined to sort of, stamp my own authority somehow. And I found out, well, if I can't match them at this, I'll try and get me defender and make sure no one really can get past me. And in a strange way, that's sort of how my debut sort of happened. I just remember going to 11v11. And I was obviously 1v1 with Kanchelskis, and I didn't realise, I just got shouted over on the other side of the park to come in and join in and make the numbers up, and Kanchelskis didn't get past me, but I didn't realise it was just trying to walk through it, but I was taking it serious. And
let them know you were there.
So Kanchelskis wasn't a bit too happy with me, and Joe Royer just shouted and goes, "Michael, we just let him pass because we're playing, say, I can't remember if they were playing Man United or whoever, they just want to." I'm like, all right, okay. And then after that, I just seemed to be in part of the first team training quite a lot, and travelling with the first teams. Joe was always one of them who wanted me to travel the away games and make the teas and coffees and just be around the first team. So you're not sort of starstruck, which, even though I was a mad blue, there's some players you're just always going to be starstruck from, even though they are your teammates. So there'll be Big Nev there, and, the laughs you're having as a YTF going into the rooms, and a big Nev, and through Parkinson, and he was giving each other stick. He just sat there like a proper schoolboy, just laughing your head off, and just hoped that you never got an eyeliner of Nev. But as soon as you clocked it, you got your nickname, and that was you stuck. So I got called quite a few on the big man, whether it was those Bugsy Burrows or what else, the German. Whatever come out of his mouth in the morning, that stuck for a good week or so.
What was the?
Time.
When you did come in, it was I believe the debut was against Spurs, wasn't it? '97.
Yeah.
Was it Watson who gave you your first debut?
It was, yeah. It was like it just felt, I don't know, like when you're a kid, you sort of take a little bucket list off, and like, I've just done that. You don't make a list up, you just go, well, I've done that. Now what can I do now? You know, got into the reserve team, now we're getting into the squad. Now I just want to get on the pitch, and it just seemed like with Joe, who we seem to be on the travelling, being on the bench, or being just outside the squad, and I sort of not lost a fight of obviously getting on the pitch, but I just thought, when's it going to happen? And because I've been in the team and the squad for that long, it never seemed to sort of take a chance. And obviously with the swap of Joe going, I thought, well, you know, Dave's going to obviously bring in the older guys and just try and get a bit of experience in while we were struggling. And but luckily enough, like a bit of fate, there was an injury that happened just before half time, and Dave Watson, you know, showed a lot of faith in bringing me on just before half time, and I think it was just a goal kick. I went up for the header, and then the half time whistle went. So then I had sort of time to sort of get my head around what I needed to do, and at half time, and Dave Watson just pulled me to one side. He goes, "Look, you've got the quality, son, and just do what you've been doing, and you know what this crowd's all about. And you know, sometimes a tackle, you know, if you can't score a goal, a tackle will get the crowd going and get us right behind. So you know, go out, enjoy it, and do what you can." And you know, weirdly enough, you know, through my career, I was probably known as sort of a strong tackler, but I never really got booked even as a young kid. But I think I was on the pitch for about 5 minutes, and I got booked thinking I was Rocky against Varga. You know, we were trying to shoot the ball out to play, and he got this little skinny blonde scout lad trying to get round him. So I just wanted to go to show him, look, you know, you're not going to have an easy game. So I think I tackled him from behind, and I did definitely give me deserved yellow card, and the crowd gave me a bit of a cheer. So that was like, well, yeah, Waggy was right.
Definitely.
But then, it was a great moment, and it was a big win at the time. It was 1-0. So it was a very important win. And it's only sort of now thinking back how important it really was at the time. I'm sort of, I couldn't say it was selfish, but I'm just made my debut, and I've made up like I've done my dream that I've always wanted to do, and put that blue shirt on and run out, you know, in Goodison Park. So then, and then obviously to win was always great, but it's only when you think back how important that win was in that season.
Yeah, it was. Well, that funny enough, I was going to ask you about that. Obviously, you did come in really that kind of those few months going into the following season. It was a difficult period for the club, wasn't it? Of course, Kendall come back. I mean, firstly, what was it like playing under Kendall? Bearing in mind he was probably a hero of yours.
Yeah, it was a strange one, because obviously I met him a few years before, and he signed me as a 14-year-old, but you know, you have to come in and get business done. So he's busy getting the players played the way he wanted to play, but him and Hinchcliffe and Busby, you know, they were a pain, you know, because they used to train. They trained with you, and they were too good. You know, you weren't allowed to tackle them. You weren't allowed to tackle them, which sometimes you wanted to, but you knew if you got a few studs on them, you won't be playing Saturday. So it's sort of you'd either have to sort of let him. I wouldn't say let him. Make him look good, because he was good. He'll play 1 touch, 2 touch, and he was. Especially on a Friday before games, you have fun little games, and he was head and shoulders on everyone. You know, even though. You know, he was old, and you say you passed it, but he still had the brain, and he was, you know, he made training very enjoyable for the players. You know, even though we were going through that bad time, he made us sort of have fun, you know, but be serious at the same time. And you know, but I think the lads really enjoyed the training under Howard, and he was a good sort of player manager. You know, he knew who needed his arm around his shoulder, who needed, you know, a quiet word here and there. So he was very clever that way. And I just remember taking my boots off, I think maybe after pre-season, he just sat on the wall by Belfield knocking all the mud off their boots, and he goes, "I remember that day, top right," and then he just walked off, and I thought, oh, great. You know, because I was like, thank God. You know, so, you know, that meant a lot. I didn't remember the day he signed me as a young kid, so I knew I had a fight on my hands to get, it was, and there was Hinchcliffe sort of breaking the England team at the time. They had Terry Phelan there, Irish international. So I had a fight on my hands to sort of stamp my authority and try and get everyone against the first team. And that was sort of after my debut and maybe I think it was a couple of weeks after my first start at West Ham that, that's what I needed to try and do. As a young kid, there's many clubs and there's many kids who were new. We're all getting them, the little babies here and there, but I was one of the first from Liverpool to do so. But I just wanted to get a run of games going, and that was my target.
Well, you did feature a lot in that season, but I mean, you talk about the training, but how difficult was it, bearing in mind how close we did go to going down in '98 and staying up on the last day? What was it like for you and the lads on the pitch?
I look at back now and I go, how did we deal with it? Because it was ever. You really don't, at the time, you don't think, well, again, I'm biased, I'm a blue, I'm thinking we're never going to go down, we're too good to go down. I had that sort of mentality, but the season has probably came a couple of weeks before. I think we played Southampton, and I just remember the word got mentioned in change room after one of the games, that we need to sort ourselves out, we're going to get relegated. That, one of the senior players said that, and I remember looking at him thinking, nah, what are you on about? I'm just not believing it, but that's probably being naive from me, really, because, that reality, we were in a dire situation. But because I'm in my first season and enjoying football and enjoying playing for the club, I'm not really seeing a bigger picture.
Yeah, of course.
And that game, I can't remember what happened the night before, but, I think a lot of players would have been, sleepless nights and thinking what needs to be happening because it was out of our hands. And the only part of them with that game is I got into a bad challenge, like by the main stand, and the stud went right into my knee. I was sort of not struggling, but the physio come around Andy Jones and he said, "You're coming off," and I just pushed him and probably told him to F off as well. And he slapped me across the face, and I was sort of like in shock, thinking, "Is he just slapped me across the face?" And it was in front of like the family enclosure where it would have happened, and I was right by the dugout.
Watching it.
Yeah, that's what he said. Well, give him a lefty as well. Wake him up. And I was by the tunnel, walking by the tunnel, and Howard looked at me, and I think I was quite teary. And he goes, "What's up with you?" And I just basically said that. He wants to take me off, and he goes, "You got over?" Yeah, and he goes, "Get back on the pitch then." So I was like, "Get in." So I just turned around and ran back on the pitch, and obviously we all know what happened after that. Marvin with the pen, that was like a nightmare situation. That was one of the times I thought, should I step up? I was nowhere near being a penalty taker back then, but I'd done it for England, and I always thought, if I get an opportunity, but Nick missed, and then the keeper dropped the ball or went through his hands, and you're just thinking, oh no. But we hold on, and that was great, but I couldn't really enjoy the celebrations in the changing room because one, my knee was sort of bleeding and I was on crutches, and the other half, Andy Jones, and the club doctor had me against the wall by my throat, saying, I could have let the club down. You lost half a yard there, you could have slip, you could have done anything. You put the club at risk.
I thought it might have been a bit easy on you, to be honest, after the I think basically because I've gone against him, and the manager, and he thinks his authority's being overruled, which it was. But it was just I was said, look, I'm really basically the one who cares. There isn't my club, not many in there, their club. No, of course, yeah.
And I think they were just basically saying, look, apologise and move on. Well, we got away with it this time, but listen to our advice in the future, which I can understand. But at the time, I've got an adrenaline. I probably would have played with 2 broken legs back then. So it didn't really matter what they were saying to me. I just didn't want to go off that pitch. And I think me being sort of a bit tearful, I think I was thinking, very happy that he asked me the question so I could get back on the pitch and hopefully see us through. So we were lucky. I went to Belfield the next day to get the tablets that I needed and get myself mini assessed, and Howard was there, and the Belfield was bouncing. It was, but it was bouncing for the right reason, for relief, not celebrating us, having a good season. It was just sort of like we've got away with it there, we had the luck. Now let's get down to work and focus on next season, get back fit. And that's what was in the players' minds and the players' heads to get back and don't let us get back in that situation ever again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going on to that next season, obviously that was when Walter Smith come in. I mean, what was he like as a manager?
Walter came in and he made a lot of changes.
Because it's looked back, isn't it, as a failure really, his time there. But I mean, Everton off the pitch were going through a difficult spell, weren't they, financially, and
it was a difficult time for Walter to come in, I suppose. But he made a lot of changes. Again, talking about Belfield, he didn't think Belfield was up to scratch. He was giving a bit of a lick of paint and making it more desirable inside, new flooring and stuff like that, and getting the gym sorted out. Which, because he wanted it to, for us to enjoy being at the training ground and spend a lot more time at the training ground. And he came in. He did have a bit of money to spend. And he did, to be fair to him, he spotted a good few players that attracted to the club, but it didn't last too long. And Walter, his first maybe year, 18 months was, he sort of, I wouldn't say I was his teacher's pet, but I was in his office for the right reasons.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, giving me advice and going, look, we want you to break in the England team, we want you to do this, you need to do that, speak to the players.
Yeah.
I was sort of being like not acting like a vice captain, but he was always giving me sort of leadership to go out and do, look after the young kids. And he's dealt with young players at Rangers. He's a Barry Ferguson and a few others have come through the system. So he knew what was ahead of me, and he just wanted me to sort of stick to the right path and do the right things. And at the time, I was sort of having a niggle with me knee, and it was, all through my career I've done that. I never really learned from it. That I thought, if I can play a game at a good level and I'm sort of getting man of the match or playing a good standard, there's no point moaning to the doctor. Les Elm at the time always said to me, Michael, you're never injured. So that, I know. So I'm not fast enough to pull a hammy anyway, so you won't worry about that. So we had a little joke over it, but then as soon as I got into the senior thing, I started getting this really sharp pain in my right standing knee when I used to sort of cross the ball or whip a few balls in. But I always thought, well, if I'm playing at a decent level in the Premier League, it can't be that bad. But Walter put it down to, I was probably with the under-18s in England, if you remember me serves me right, and they used to play on a Thursday, so I'd be away with England playing Thursday night, and I'd be flying back, late, early morning Friday, then getting on a coach at Belfield, and we were travelling to Southampton away.
Yeah, it's very demanding, isn't it?
Yeah, he started going, you probably seen, his form was probably dipping, but he started just not training me. He just said, you're not training. He said, you need to rest. Obviously, you want to be involved with England, and I want you to be the best you can. So just keep yourself, ticking over and come and train on the Thursday Fridays, and hopefully that knee will settle down for you. And that's what sort of happened the majority of the first 18 months or so under Walter. And then the one pre-season, we obviously started selling a lot of young players who were struggling with the money. Gavin left, Richard Dunn left. And he left. There was, players all started sort of leaving, and the core Materazzi only lasted a year.
Yeah.
So you can see, the club weren't going. They weren't attracting the better players than he was in his first year. And it was a bit disappointing. We started buying a lot of senior players, and I was thinking, where are we going here?
Yeah. Well, it is funny. Go on. Sorry. Yeah,
it was because we had a lot of trialists. We brought in a lot of trialists, and there was two Spanish kids. I think they were from Barcelona way, and married. And they've had me around me trainer. I was thinking, I hope we sign these, and and then they end up signing someone else. We're thinking, but that was his style, and who we brought in just surprised me. Goffey was absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Goffey was a great professional. I learned a lot from Goffey. I was probably a bit too mouthy, a bit too demanding. When I'm off the pitch, I'm very quiet. On the pitch, I seem to sort of, my character changes a little bit, and I think me demands of me teammates are very high.
Yeah.
If they're not doing them, I tell them, and I won't care if, who you are. If you've had so many caps or you've had so many appearances, I'm going to tell you. And some of them don't like it because they feel like they get embarrassed, by a young kid. And Walter encouraged that from me really. But Goffey, pulled me to one side and not tame me, but basically said, do it in a nicer way. You're right what you're saying, but you're putting it across the wrong way, and it's probably me scouse and just sort of shouting with frustration and not sort of, I want to get the best of my teammates as well as telling them what to do and not knock them down a little bit, which is probably what I was doing at first. And so Goffey came in, and I just love playing alongside him. Walter, pulled my dad in once just to see what we need to do to try and get out. And he said, month before one game, he said, you played centre half, didn't you? And I was like, yeah, when I was about 14. I said, you're joking, are you? I said, no, yeah, of course, yeah. He goes, well, I'm going to start playing centre half.
Yeah, I was about to say, you did adapt for a little while, didn't you? But you were quite versatile, I suppose, between the wing back and the
yeah, it was under Howard it was a strange one as well. I think he just liked me the football ability, because I played centre mid a lot, against Man United. I played the worst game in my life against Arsenal, playing right back. I was facing the crowd. I didn't even know what I was doing. I've never played right back. I had my body position as a left back, but playing right back and against Overmars. So that was my worst experience. Yeah. So I played nearly everywhere, wing back, centre mid, left centre mid, and obviously left back, left centre half. And with Goffey, Dave Weir coming in. So there was a funny story about Howard when at Old Trafford, I think it was Boxing Day, he said, just man Mark Giggs. I was like, oh, right, okay. So, he shows faith in me that way, and then I've seen on the warm-up that Giggs had his trackies on. I said, boss, I don't think Giggs is playing. And he went, I'll just go and play in the middle then, alongside, against Scholes, Keane and Buff. I was like, all right. So I was like, oh, yeah. So, it was sort of good praise and a big confidence booster that, he trusted me to do so, but, sometimes there were battles I just couldn't win.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a tough one, to be fair.
So Walter knew I could play certain ways, and I think with Goffey, maybe his pace, obviously slowing down. He probably needed the extra centre half at the back there and started playing three, and it suited me. I really like playing at the back of three. I wasn't at the tallest, but I had the experience in Exard and Goffey, and we just positioned ourselves quite well to read the game and just counteracted if we had like a Niall Quinn up front that want to get in front of the other. And we played well. There was sometimes Dave Watson and sometimes Davey Weir. So playing back three suited me, and to be honest, it's probably my best year in a blue shirt, where I had a run of good level performances.
Well, I mean, of course, leading on from that a bit later on, you finally got your England call up, got your first cap, and somewhat annoyingly, and I didn't actually realise this until I was having a look, the only one that you got.
Yeah.
Which is quite a shock, to be honest. But I mean, before we go into the negatives of that, just how much of a special moment was that for you when you found out you were in the team and eventually?
Well, it was similar to story to me, Davey. And reasons like Walter pulled me in the office a few times. He said, "Look, you don't want to be a one cap wonder. You can play for a long time if you do the right things." And he said, "Because you're a young kid, the crowd and the media let you off little mistakes here and there, but as you sort of start creeping as a 19 and 20-year-old, that'll stop, and the expectations will come up, so you need to sort of keep on adding to your game and don't rest in the road," which he was right. And waiting for me England debut again was, I was under 21s, and then I'd been called up in the squad in '99. I got called up in the squad in 2000, 98, I think it was, 99, and then 2000. Actually made me debut under Sven. But I've had three different England managers. There was Peter Taylor, there was Kevin Keegan, and there was a Howard Wilkinson, one where I was training with them for a couple of games from the under 21s, got involved with the first team, and you're just thinking, am I ever going to get my cap? And because we played Italy away, and Ray Clements was sort of the goalkeeper coach at England, but he was in charge of getting the subs warmed up and getting them ready, and we're playing in Italy's national stadium, and I'm stretching behind the goal. We had the athletics track, so you're miles away from the sub bench, and you're seeing Ray Clements like bounding over and shouting Bally, and I heard him, but I just thought I'd just do an extra stretch and make him run a few more yards and just to make sure. And I was the closest one to him by the corner flag, as a few bit like behind the goal. And as he got closer, he went, Bally, I put my head up, going like, "Come on, get yourself here. Here's your moment now. So get yourself ready and do what you do." And I just put my head up and went, "Yeah." He would get carrot. I was like, "Oh, you." I was like, So I had to shout carrot. And he went on to again. That was the closest I got. So I had to wait another year. We learned the moment. And luckily enough, Sven wanted to see everyone really. He made a big squad. And I got my opportunity against Spain when he played at Villa Park, and he used to travel around the country when Wembley was under construction. And that was obviously fabulous, making England debut, getting your cap. And Terry Sheringham, I think, jinxed me because he signed my shirt and he said, one of many.
Famous last words.
He killed me. And it wasn't long after that ended up leaving Everton and an injury problem. So that's the reason why it was still only one cap, and it was disappointing enough to add a few more in your career, but it just wasn't to be.
Yeah, well, I mean, leading on to that, I think it was this. I've got some of 2001 that you did leave for Rangers. I mean, how much of that move was you, or was it the club, or because there was a cloud of, once again, kind of financial problems. I mean, what was it your say, or did you just kind of get told, "Listen, Bally, you're off, mate"? How did it work?
Well, me and during that season, funny enough, even though I think there was, at the time, there was 50 supporters clubs, I think, roughly, that voted, and I got played the year out of 14. But that season, me and Walter didn't really see eye to eye. There was a lot of negative press about me in the local papers that were all false, and I just found that the club or someone in the club were leaking things that just to sort of make it unrest. But I was having contract talks, and the year before then, I put in my mind that I was in and out the team under Walter. He brought in, I can't remember now, 4 left backs. He brought in Unzi, he brought in Gary Naismith, he brought in Pistone. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I'm breaking in the England team, and he's buying left backs. We don't need left backs. We don't need.
I mean, just on
that was a sort of a stab. You know what I mean? A dig. But I didn't know, and I just thought, right, give me an opportunity, and I'll prove you wrong, and I'll prove I'm the man. And I remember my first goal in the Gladys Street. I think we played Southampton, I think it was, and I was on the bench, and I come on, took the pen, and we won. And weirdly enough, I always kicked the ball down to the keeper's right. And for some reason, I went the other way, and it went in. But I've never took a penalty gone that way. But it was my first goal in the Gladys Street, and then we wanted to win the game. And but me and Walter, it just seemed to turn a little bit sour. And I don't know whether he was trying to force me out or what. But my performances were decent. I got relegated to the number 12 shirt, which wants number 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the numbers are number. Yeah, I've been fighting all my career to get the number 3 Everton shirt, since I found it nowadays. Yeah. I finally got it, and then he brought in other players to take it off me. So, at the end of the day, I was sort of getting blamed for quite a lot of stuff, but you just got to get your head down and prove them wrong, and which I did that final year. He ended up playing me. I got Player of the Year and stuff. So, my attitude that on the pitch was I remember receiving the award and the Everton Player of the Year awards, and I've never met Alex Young before. It's my dad's favourite player.
Yeah.
You see him around the club, but you don't. If you're not, unless you go in the lounges, as a player, you weren't really allowed into the lounges, so you never actually got the chance to meet. And he presented me with the award, and I just looked on the audience, and I hate all that speaking. But you still got to say your thank yous, and I'm a bit too sort of shy that doing stuff like that. And they just got I was basically said thanks very much. I looked at Kenwright, and who I could see in the audience, and said, "I'll see you all next year." Because one of the guys, I think it's the Blue Kipper boys or someone, said, "Look, we don't want to give you this award because everyone we give this award to is left." I think they give it to Hutch, I think they give it to Barnby, and maybe Doug the year before or something. And I was like, well, I was adamant I'm going nowhere.
Yeah.
The contracts we were talking for it wasn't adamant. It wasn't sort of important, but there was sort of talk ongoing. But the club was saying that we've got other priorities, which was fair enough. But it started coming in. Phone calls started happening from Middlesbrough, from the other side. We're contacting a lot. There was a lot of rumours about other clubs which weren't true, but all I know is the club accepted 3 bids off the other side, Middlesbrough and Rangers. And Walter
actually accepted a bid, did they? Off?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, yes. And knowing when a few couple of years later, I found out there was 3 or 4 bids they put in, which I didn't find out about. But that was obviously never going to happen.
Yeah. Were you never tempted? Obviously, I know you're blue through and through, of course.
No. I would. The only reason was because it was all the England situation.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Liverpool influence. There was Samuel Lee, Gerard Houllier was always around the England or the 21s, England first team, and probably kind of, he's probably speaking to the coaches who were coaching in England and stuff like that and seeing performances. But that was never ever going to happen. But, Walter turned around and said, look, if you don't need this season, I'm going to let you rock in the reserves. You got the World Cup. If you want to be in the World Cup, you better move on. And I just said to my agent, which is Trevor Stephen at the time, I said, well, I'm going to outlast him. He won't last very long, so I'm not going anywhere. Let's just carry on. And, Walter ends up leaving. I can start afresh with somebody else. But as pre-season, the whole summer went. Ken Wright was speaking to me with Trevor, and I was away in sunny Benidorm of all places with the family and my mate, and I flew back handy to. Ken Wright said he wants us all sorted out for the season, so I was absolutely made up. And I took all my mates out for the meals and said, "Look, I'm going to leave you here. I'm off to sign my contract." I turned up at Goodison on the Wednesday, and the assistant said, Bill's not here, which then obviously makes me find out what's going on, and I found out through my agent that Bill has said the board have changed their mind. So that was a massive big shock, and then pre-season starts, and I started pre-season. All the new faces were there. I think Toffee come in as well. You
were going at this point.
Well, I still didn't think it was ever going to happen because I haven't spoke to anyone. I haven't spoke to any clubs at all. And just as pre-season, my knee, I had injections in my knee at the club, which I think the club, that was an influence in them because they knew how much I was struggling. They knew I wasn't training. I had this cortisone injection in the knee, which I don't think is medically correct of how they done it. They even went behind the doctor's back, or the doctor they didn't trust. And I think I'll see a second opinion on another doctor, and I sort of got handled pretty wrong, the injury, and I think Everton probably just thought let's cash him in while he's still walking. That's how I sort of feel now, thinking back at it. But I wasn't going anywhere. I was training on my own. The pre-season was kicking on. I was just running around Belfield, and I was speaking to all the players, and I just said, hopefully I'll be back fit and be ready to go. Walter, as I said he's going to let me rot the reserves, which was a killer, thinking I'd put my body on the line last season.
Of course.
But I was quite successful. I thought I did feel like I needed to be rewarding, but it wasn't like it had to happen now. It could have happened in January or the following year. There was no rush to do it. But the club felt that they needed to maybe sell the assets, and Trevor Stevens told me that David Murray at Rangers wants to have a little word with me. Just come up for the weekend. There was a lot of press speculation about me around here, and I just thought, well, I'll just go for Glasgow for the weekend. Sort of get out and see what happens, and that was it. But then as soon as I got up and met David Murray, who at the time I didn't realise he's got no legs and he's on crutches, and he's showing me around Ibrox, and he obviously trying to sell me the club, and I'm just adamant going, well, why are you doing this? Because I'm not signing. That wasn't in my head to sign. And as the meeting kept on going on, I picked up the phone to my dad, and I just said, Dad, I think I'm going to sign. I think my dad nearly collapsed. And I said, he goes, why? He goes, I don't know, I just feel wanted. I haven't felt wanted at the club I love for a good couple of years, and Bolter's bringing more players in. It doesn't look like he's going to, he's not going to play me. I want to get into I want to get the England team and get into the World Cup and, you know, start winning things. And he's like, well, what's Trevor saying? And I said, I don't know. He just said he want me, the manager at Big Advocate. You know, there was Arthur Newman, there was Ronald the Balls, Tory Andre Fleury was brought in, they were pushing for the Champions League. There was at the time, David Murray said, hopefully in 2 or 3 years we're going to be in the Premier League because we haven't talked of UEFA raising themselves, we're going to join the Premier League. And I just said, well, I'm not signing for Middlesbrough for the start because Steve McCladden asked me to go and look at the training ground. And I go, why do I want to see the training ground? You know what? They spent a lot of money on it, but I'm thinking, I'm not, as long as you only got 2 goals in a footy pitch, you're not really that bothered. Yeah. That was sort of my attitude, and the reason was, one, it's red, and two, I'll have to play against Everton, and it was a massive sort of thing for me that, well, if I can sign for Rangers, Middlesbrough and Liverpool offer me a lot more money. That was never going to be an option, and then I was up there for a couple of days, and my medical at Rangers lasted over 2 weeks because of how bad my knee situation was. So it never really, it was very close to not really happening. I'd mentally in my head come back and got my boots and my stuff from Belfield, which was the hardest thing I think I've ever done. It was I don't think I said ta to anyone. So sorry I missed a bit. I was like speaking to players when only Rangers were interested. The whole club, the whole squad had played for Rangers. I think at some point there was Ryder, there was Big Dunk, there was John Collins at Celtic, there was Alex Clone, and and Gazette. They were asking, I was asking them all questions, what's it like, and it was a very traditional club, and like, right, okay. I was like, yeah, but it's Scotland, but it was the Champions League thing and what they wanted to do in the Champions League. So I thought that's fair enough. That's a plus, but that was going to beat us sort of staying here. But then, if I'm not going to play football for the next 18 months, where am I going to end up? If Walter still is the man in charge of this club, I'm going to, my career is going to put on hold, and it was a horrible decision to make. Yeah. The club's accept. The manager said he's not going to play me, so I had no choice. I've got no other option. And then I've got another manager and another chairman who just showed me, obviously, doing the sales pitch on me. Yeah. But it worked, to be honest. And, as I said, my medical lasted 2 weeks, and Rangers missed out on John Hartson failing the medical on the knee. And I think David Murray just thought, well, I'm not losing another one. He read all the reports. The club doctor, who had a full-time club doctor at Rangers at the time, he didn't have to go to Rodney Street if he was sick or anything like that. He was a Dutch doctor, and he was baffled because I could do everything he was asking me, but he's like looking at me scans and my X-rays and my ultrasound, saying he's going, "Oh, that shouldn't happen." I'm thinking, "Oh, I've been like this for 18 months, maybe." I think he warned them and said, "Look, he could break down at any moment, but if you want him, you might just say he can't." So. Yeah. Luckily enough, I was on the training pitch doing a few drills, and then a car came on the pitch, and it was Sean Connery. And I was thinking, picking off my head here, and he just said, the chairman wants you. So I was quite buzzing because I was doing quite a bit of hard session. Yeah. And I thought, well, I don't think I've got much in me. So the bomb comes to save me. and David Murray basically, he just said in the office, goes, look, we're happy. I've agreed with Everton. And I'm not 100%, but I think Everton wanted 7 million. The Rangers didn't want to pay more than 6. And he agreed on 6.5. And he said, but it's going to go in, obviously, a few instalments now. And the other half is when Everton sell Goodison, I'm going to get the steel. I was like, it's made of wood. And he started laughing. He goes, yeah, there is steel, Michael, there somewhere. Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot. But enough for me. And that's where David Murray was. That was his sort of forte in the steel business. And so I felt like I was getting sold for 2 blues and a goldfish. I was thinking, so what is it? 6.5 and a steel out of Goodison. I was thinking, I can only remember the hot dog stand in the enclosure that was made of steel.
I mean, what a bizarre story. They put the steel in from Goodison as part of the deal.
Yeah, it was just a business type thing. But then it was a relief, sadly it was to leave the club. it was a relief that I can come, right, I can start playing football now. And it was, it was a long drawn out medical. It was, as I said, it was 2 weeks. And then, I think the first game was away, and then the next game was, the first home game was the Champions League game.
Yeah.
So it was sort of, what shocked me then, I wasn't playing. I was like, I've just got to move all the way here. And I'm on the bench, but then I was so sort of, not naive, but blinded of Everton. I didn't really take much notice of any other team or any other players. I just all I knew as a kid was Everton and the odd world-class star from another team. But, there wasn't much I'd sort of took notice of. I was just sort of always Everton. And when I went to Rangers, I thought, well, they want me to sign me, I'm going to play. But, I didn't realise, Arthur Newman was, a class Dutch international left back, and he still want me, and I'm on the bench and going, I haven't come all the way to Scotland to sit on the bench. But again, that's where you just got to get on with it again, and you've got to earn your trust like I did at Everton as a young kid, to earn the trust to go, they sign me, but doesn't mean you're an automatic starter. You've got to earn your right, and we had very good players, and the training up there was, you needed a pre-match meal. It was they were that good, and the training was just another level again, which was great because it makes you learn. You learn so much. Okay, the opposition up there weren't as obviously weren't as tough as the Premier League, but the games were very tough because it was their cup final. You're playing against a Dundee or a Hearts. If you played for Hearts and you had a good game, Rangers or Celtic could probably buy you. Yeah. So you had that every week. So, if you've got to 0-0 at Ibrox after 20 minutes, the fans would turn on you. So there was expectations and pressure. It wasn't just about winning. You had to win with a bit of style. But the players, we had a good set of players, but we would bollock each other because we knew the level that we could be at. If someone wasn't there up to scratch, there was some riots. And sometimes I was thinking, we're winning 2-0, calm down, lads. Yeah. But it was just their level. They wanted more. They wanted 4. They wanted 5. And, they just wanted the level. Because if the level drops, it makes it harder for your teammates. And we just have to sort of be at our best at all times. And Advocat was, he was a bit of a dictator in training. That way, he took everything. And everything had to be, pristine. Everything had to be perfect for him to be happy. And which was good because it makes us, concentrate. It doesn't rely on us Rollos thinking, we just won 2 games, so it'll be all right. Yeah. Every game you have to win. If you draw, you lost the league. Yeah. There was one season we lost 1 game and lost the league. The pressure. Yeah, it is on getting it. I don't know. The level is not obviously. Now it has dropped, but it was just the pressure to perform week in, week out, and the fans. Yeah. It was a massive club, and it was good. And the Champions League game, I think I scored. I scored in a free kick. I think my first and only Champions League goal. And you think it'd be another good moment, but again, like Everton, I was sort of sitting there thinking, what's going on? We just won 3-1, and we're getting bollocked. We're getting absolutely hammered by Advocat at the end of the game, and it's because it was a 2-legged game. And if we go to Russia and get beat 2-0, we're out. Yeah. Yes. And I was thinking, and you can understand it, but I was thinking, we're not going to get beat 2-0. But it's Champions League, it's very easily done. And we went on and went through anyway. But it was that level of, we're winning 2-0, don't let it drop. We're winning 3-0, don't let it drop. And we let it slip. They got a late goal, 3-1, and all our good work got sort of Advocat on a bit of a rage. And that was. He just wanted the best out of everyone, and his style was a lot different than what I was used to. But there was a lot of Dutch players there. There was a lot of senior pros there in the game who sort of went along with it. So you can't sort of get out the line and just do what they do. Just get on with it. And as long as you train them well and you play well, that's all that matters. But unfortunately for me, after about 12, 13 games in, I finished the game, went home, got in the car, and I was meeting one of the lads, I think Claudio Reyna, the American captain, and his wife were going somewhere, and I just couldn't get up the car. He just sort of went into a big balloon, found the doctor, and went back to the training ground, and that's where the injury problem sort of really started for Rangers, and it was
Well, that was
that was the doctor knew about it.
Was that 18 months for delay off that?
Yeah, it was. It was a knockback because I was back after 4, and they were contemplating whether to play me in the last couple of games of the season. But the doctor said, "Look, there's no point. Let's just, I was my fitness levels and everything went." Well, that was a good thing that Rangers did. They didn't mess about. Maybe I don't really want to select the Everton, but I wasn't getting X-rays, I wasn't getting scans. I was just getting told to do certain things, and I wasn't getting assessed properly. Rangers just, got the best surgeon in the world, Dr. Stedman, flew me over to Colorado, Denver with the doctor. I said, get it sorted and come back.
Yeah.
And at that time, it was something daft, like $25,000-$30,000 they paid, I think, and Everton wouldn't pay £100 for the next day.
No.
So it was sort of, I was in the right hands. Rangers obviously spent a lot of money on me, so they wanted to get me right, and my rehab with Stedman was spot on. And he did warn me that he warned me very early on.
Yeah.
Because when he looked at me scan, he was thinking, well, you might not have to go through this. And then I explained my circumstances. He put a dye in the scan and then realised how bad of a state my knee was in. He opened me up and he said, "Michael, you were one game away from never playing. So your knee's perfect." He said, "You have one game. You got one thin thread of your patella left." He said, if that went, it would have been a long, long way back, and you possibly wouldn't have played football again. How did he let it get in this state? And I was like, explaining that was all down to, in his mind, was the injections I had earlier at Everton, where they put the steroids injection into the tendon, and the medical fact is you've got to put them around the tendon to protect the tendon, not in. So as they put the needle in, they've ripped clean tendons. Because of the steroid, I couldn't feel it. Explaining why I could pass my medical and play so many games, and it was just a wear and tear that finally blew up. And he said, "Look, you're very lucky." He said, "But listen to me, do this, don't go too slow, don't go too fast, and listen to what I say. And any problems, phone me." And my rehab, I flew by. I really went through it all. It was a kick in the teeth, but I was just had my head down. Advocat wasn't the nicest manager to be around with when you were injured. Which some managers are. Some managers don't want to speak to you because you're no good to them, which is fair enough. I feel over at the end of the day, I can't do nothing for them. So I've just got to concentrate on getting myself back into the team and getting myself back fit. So 4 and a half months, I was running, I was kicking a ball. And there was talk of me probably playing the last game or so in the season, which they just said, let's wait for pre-season, get a good pre-season, get Michael, come back fit and strong, ready to go. And in that pre-season, they were in America, in Canada, Toronto, and my knee, I couldn't sort of train for 2 weeks on the bounce without my knee sort of swelling. No pain, just swelling. So there was something not right. So I spoke to Stedman and I just told him the issues. I said, I've been doing this now for about 6 weeks, training good for 2 weeks, and then I had to rest a couple of days, and then again 2 weeks. And he went, I said, I know exactly what it is.
So he knew,
He knew by the phone. He said, I want to assess you. He goes, that operation, Michael, 30-40%, you need to come in for the second operation. And it's not as bad as what you think, but it's not bad. It's bad news, but it's not as bad as you think. So I flew back over. And the reason is my tendon just grew a little bit too much. So you have like a bit of they call it the sheath. So it's like basically a skin that covers the tendon. It's just a bit too tight. So the second operation was basically to lift it up and just put it back a little bit looser. And he said, that's it. He said, I've checked your tendon, everything's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. He said, but you've got to go through the whole rehab again. And that was the killer, because you sort of had all summer thinking, I've got to repay the fans back and the club and show the club what I'm about to do. And there was a new manager just come. I wanted to prove a point to him, because obviously the old manager's left and he's the one who signed me, so I had to sort of start at the bottom, and I got my head all around that, and then I was out, and then that rehab was sort of, that was a nightmare for me really. It was a tough one for me. The club were changing, there was a lot of big players leaving, the money seemed to be sort of, they failed to get into the Premier League as they wanted to do. They failed to sort of going on in the Champions League. So the whole club itself, and I think they were in serious debt. Still started to change, and that was a tough year for me. And we brought in Mikel Arteta. Mikel was obviously for the Everton days, it was a good great talent, and and I missed out on a double and a treble.
Yeah, well,
in them days, that was hard to swallow. It was hard to swallow, but you can't do nothing about it. I was made up with my teammates, and if you look back in videos, I was never nowhere near the photos, or I wasn't doing a John Terry anyway. There's a very little picture of me with my son when he was a little kid, just in the dugout watching the lads go out and enjoy it. But the press were telling me, and the Rangers press officer to get on the pitch and wave for the fans, and I didn't want to take any credit for anything. I haven't done nothing. He said I wanted to deserve the right to do that, and I thought, well, I'm staying here. I'm not dissing the crowd. I just don't want to get acknowledged for sitting in air, man. To be thinking I've been lying on a medical bed for 18 months. So I want to earn the right to get applauded and win something.
And you did. We might have.
Luckily I did. In my final year.
Yeah. You got the Scottish League Cup and the Premier League.
So
I mean, were they? Am I right in saying at senior level at least? Were they your first pieces of silverware?
That it was, yeah.
So I mean, that must have been a pretty special moment for you.
Yeah, it was. You always watch it. As a kid, you don't dream about winning trophies and medals with anyone else. It's your boy club, which was Everton, and that sort of got took away from me really. And he's like, well, that one of the reasons why you got to move is to win things. You don't get remembered that much. You've got to go out and earn the right. And at the end of the day, winning stuff as kids is great, but you want to do it at a professional level, and even though it was the League Cup, it was the first one, so it does mean stuff to you. And it was a very strange season, that, because under my contract situation that I was talking about, whether Rangers found out there wasn't enough steel. I couldn't, they had a contract there which they couldn't afford to pay me. So it was a difficult time. But again, David Murray he was a nice chap, a really good. You'd listen to him. He was always in and around the club. He was in the training ground, and at every game, Sean O'Connor you bring to the games and stuff like that. And he just pulled me. He goes, look, we're struggling. We lost the league the year before. Celtic had run away with it. we need to play him, Michael. And what, the club, just can't afford to play you. But we can try and get up to some agreement, and but if not, you're going to be sitting here again in another 2 years left on your contract, and then who's going to take a player who's never played football for 4 years in Scotland? You've got to think of your future career, and it was sort of wise words. But again, he's doing the sales pitch, and he said, look, if you pay 4,000 every time you play, and I'll pay 4,000, we'll speak to Everton, and then when if you go over that line, I think it was the 40 or 60 game, we'll get come to agreement. Is that okay? And I went, yeah, that's fine, and went back downstairs. That was at Ibrox before one of the games, which I wasn't expecting to be playing, and then McLeish was like, you can see that he wanted my attention. He goes, what did he say? What did he say? And I just explained to him, yeah, I'm free to play if you want to play me. He went, oh great, get your kit on, you on the bench. So I was like, sounds, because I've been going the game, supporting the boys, and just sort of having a pie in the place because I've had nothing to do. I've been training if I trained like Pele or Messi or whatever, it wouldn't have made an absolute difference for getting into the side. And McLeish was good that way. I think he liked me professionalism. I didn't disrupt the training. I still trained like I was going to be playing the weekend, but even though when I wasn't. So in a way, I probably trained harder because I know I didn't have to save myself for the weekend. So I think he's very appreciative of how I went about things. During that period, and but the problem was he put me on with a minute to go, and I pulled him. I went, that's just cost me £4. Laughing and joking. He went, fine, what? He didn't know what to do. He didn't understand the deal. Yeah. He wasn't the top of the meeting. I was like, oh, surely. So we had a laugh and a joke over it, and then and from then on, our season turned around. Got to the League Cup semi-final against Celtic. We beat them, which was obviously back then. If you beat them, you got a good chance of winning it. Yeah. So that was a great game, a whole fair game with Hampden, and then we went on to win it. And then we were playing catch up against Celtic that season, and the final game, which is a famous one up there now, it's called Helicopter Sunday, is Celtic failed to get a point. They needed a point, and we needed to win, and they got beat at home, and we won away. So the helicopter changed the ribbons on the trophy, and they come back towards us, and it was one of the strangest games I've ever played in, and but it just felt that a bit of calm had come back my way with my injuries, and then I got back playing, and I couldn't play because of politics issues, and then I'm paying to sort of play for the club to get my career back on track, and it was sort of like, well, there's my reward. So it was all worth it in the end to lift up the trophy and win the league is something special. Yeah,
definitely. So then, I mean, of course, you went abroad then to PSV. Once again, it was almost plagued a little bit again by the injuries, wasn't it? But you did encounter a certain Ronald Koeman. And now I don't feel like I'm throwing you under the bus here, but once again, when I was having a look on just doing a bit of research before, I happened to come across some of your tweets that were at the back end of the Martinez era, where we knew he was going, and it was who's next. And I did see a few people quote Koeman to you, and you could sense you were biting your tongue a little bit. Did you foresee what was going to happen at Everton? I was hoping I was proven wrong. But that move to PSV was, again, massive club and the players that play for them. There was Romario, Ronaldo, they're around the club. You're like, Jesus, it's world class stars, and their level they want to achieve in the Champions League. It's all about the Champions League for them, and they got beat by a last goal. They drew, but the away goal in the year before against AC Milan, the semi-final. So they would have been playing Liverpool at Istanbul, but AC Milan scored the last minute away goal to put them through. So AC Milan ended up playing Liverpool. So for them to contact me to play, to take them to the next level, that was a massive confidence booster. They were selling, obviously, the left back went to Tottenham, young Paul Lee, I think his name is, or something like that, young Lee. They sold him on to Tottenham after that, and Van Bommel left. And they brought myself in, and we had a top side, Cocky, and he ended up being a few more in the Clyde and stuff like that. But we had Fafan, we had Kone, I signed the same week at Kone, and Aruna was, when he first come, he was raw, which I think he's still raw when he finishes his career. But he had some pace on him, and he had some strength, and he had some ambition. You do your talk when you sign for the club, and you go, it's great to be here, and you can't wait to get start playing and start winning things. And Aruna was basically something completely opposite. He goes, it's great to be here, like a stepping stone, and then the dream is to sign for Man United and Real Madrid or Barcelona. I thought he hasn't even played a game yet. How did he do there? I mean, I can't remember much about him.
He was up front with Fafan and Hesselink. He needed a lot of chances. But in Holland he played three up front, so he'd have a lot of 1v1s. So some of them he put away, some of them he wouldn't. But we had that much of a great time. He created a lot for him, so he would get a decent ratio of goals, I suppose. But he missed an awful lot. But we had a good side, and we ran away with the league. We shouldn't have really. We won the league that early. That our season finished in April, with the 16th. So Hiddink just let us all go home. So I came home for a week, 10 days, and then we had to report back in the middle of May for the cup final. So we went to.
What state was everybody in at that point? Had everyone behaved themselves at home, or?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're very professional. They're sort of, they're very laid back, and it's a job to them. There's no big flash hardies. There's a Cocky, captain Barcelona for 5 years. You live around the corners of the normal house. Where I was renting, and everyone was just normal, and football was just a job. Go there and do your business and come home. There wasn't you know, I used to turn up there a bit too early in the morning. Like, I'd turn up probably 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and warm myself up, and they'd be going, "What are you doing?" So we don't start till 9.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, there was just like that Dutch German mentality
Yeah.
there. But I'm sure everyone hid in the car park like 5 to 9, and then they all come in. You know, it's just like, you know, back here you get sort of seen as being, you know, more a professional if you're there a little bit earlier, and but then, you know, I get there, there's no keys to get in. You know, so you're sitting. So I could have stayed in bed for half an hour here. But it was, you know, the great family club, you know, and the history behind them and what they do, and the Mr. Phillips. You know, I didn't realise, you know, Phillips, the make the brand. I didn't realise that was their actual sports club. They had a basketball team, a hockey team, and a football club. And PSV is their football club, and everyone in Eindhoven basically works for Phillips. And it was a great community, and you know, a lot of internationals and Americans, Chinese and stuff who live in the area, because obviously the tech giants that they are, and then obviously match day, the whole cities are sort of at a standstill, and they all go to the game. Yeah. So it was but again, the fans were nuts, crazy. You know, they were, if you kicked the ball over head out, you know, they were groaning. Yeah, it was total Dutch football, but luckily I adapted quite quick, because obviously my experience with Rangers and being along with a lot of Dutch players, and Arthur knew him. He was a good friend, and we ended up being good mates at Rangers. He was an ex-player at PSV, and spoke to him beforehand about him. He said you'd love it. Jan Bouters, famously for doing Gascoigne's in the eye, you know, that Phantom of the Opera, the elbow. He was my coach at Rangers, and then he was my coach at PSV. So, well, no, that was when we brought him. Koeman came. So we won the league, and then we got beaten in the cup final against Ajax last minute, extra time. Snyder got sent off to Snyder, got sent off to them. We got players sent off. We won 1-1, and last kick against Huntelaar. And Ajax went back. It was a sickening idea, because Ajax finished 5th that season, and you know, as I said, we ran away with the league, so we threw that away. It was disappointing to lose that, and that was at Rotterdam, where we won the the cup final '85. Back in Vienna, so I'm sort of made up being in the same stadium where all that happened. Concentrating on my own cup final, but no wonder we never won. But it was a great experience, and I had 2 years. So my second year, I needed to play to get my third year. But as you said about injuries, I went into it with a tackle with my dodgy knee. And I didn't need an operation. I just needed to rest. So they had a fella called Mars who basically ran the whole PSV, from massages to kitman to anything. And he said, your knee's wobbling, so put it in a cast and go and have 6-8 weeks off at home and come back when you're ready. So, that was disappointing, because they don't really count the league games. They have the League Cup game over there that they don't count as appearances. They have the cup game that the FA Cup say that they do count. So I didn't really play that many games. So I got back into the team and got to the cup final. Just about made enough appearances to get myself a league medal as well, or league shield as they called it. So again, you're winning back-to-back leagues. It was obviously a good achievement for me. Disappointing not to get the cup, but then Koeman came in, but like PSV, they're known for it. They have a good year, and they sell 1 or 2 of the main players, and then they bring in a few more from overseas, from Brazil, Argentina, etc., and try and sort of develop them and then sell them as a profit. Like Robin and Van Nistelrooy, Romario, and others that I mentioned before. So isn't it for them? It is, and and the fans. Sometimes we probably see it as a bit bitter, or why is he leaving? They sort of embrace it and go, we've made him. They're proud that they've made that player the player he was, and they know they can't hit the height. They want to be winning the Champions League. They got, as I said, the semi-final. They want to be winning Champions League trophies, but they know they can't match the big boys in Europe by money, so they've got to do it elsewhere by bringing young talent in and developing as players. And Holland, his role half the time is very big for German, Spanish and English scouts to get them, and Chelsea were taking a few, and then obviously Barcelona taking a few at Van Bommel and stuff. So, PSV were used to it. Koeman came and brought a lot of players in. He brought a Mexican left back, Alfredo in. But I was still playing all the pre-season games. I thought I was still going to be involved.
Yeah.
We had the sort of, you know, I can't pronounce the name. It was basically the Charity Shield before the season starts, and I wasn't involved in that squad, which was a bit of a big surprise for me.
There was no idea.
No, I just wasn't involved in that squad thing, and then I just thought, well, there we go. He obviously wants to play his new signing, which is fair enough. So it looks like I've got a fight on my hands, still waiting for an opportunity to go. So I was willing to wait, and I'm confident enough that if he gives me the chance, the lad will get back in. And that was sort of my attitude. And he asked me to play in the reserves, which I did quite a lot for PSV because of the knee injury from the year before. Yeah. So I had no problem to doing that. And then I walked into his office like an hour. He said, "We'll go over to the academy side and to the game kicking off at 1 o'clock." I said, "I'm not playing on that." And he goes, "You know?" I said, "I'm not." I said, my knees are that bad. Like I've been told, I can't, since the Everton days, don't play on artificial pitch. When I was playing in Scotland at Rangers, don't play on an artificial pitch. I wouldn't play on them. I got told not to play on it. The last thing you need to do, Michael, is to put any more pressure on your knee. So I just explained my situation to him, and he didn't. He just felt like I was going against him. And I said, "Look, speak to Jan, because Jan Bouters is, he's knew me for 4 years.
Yeah,
he'll explain. I've got a history of this." And he said, "Will you go and speak to Jan then?" So we got kicked out of his office. I went to Jan. I said, "Explain to that idiot, will you? Just." And he goes, "Michael, he won't." I said, "Go and speak to him and let me know." And he just said, "He wants you playing, I'll go home." I said, "Well, I'm not playing. Because I'm not putting my career on risk because, I haven't warmed up properly for that week because it was like a Monday. Yeah. I had the weekend off, going from nothing to a full game. It would have been difficult for me with my knee." And so from that day on, really, me and Ronald didn't really see eye to eye. There was talk of me going to Blackburn, and that I never really materialised. I think he thought I was going to Blackburn, but I've never spoke to him. I don't know. I think it might have been just Dutch, paper talk and stuff. But I had no sort of conversation. But I think he thought I was off. And then when the window closed, that was it. He basically done an Iashi on me. He basically just said.
So you've seen all that before when that was in the.
So I was, expecting it. I thought, fair enough. Well, all I've got to do now is keep myself fit and ready and hope Blackburn do want me in January, and so I just have to keep myself fit. So I'm playing a lot of reserve games, sometimes training with the first team if they were short, but not many. Yeah. I've moved to another changing room, sit next to Clive and then sit next to some kid who can't speak a word of English, maybe he's from Brazil or something, it was difficult, but, the older lads, I was seeing them sort of outside the training, the Cockneys and that Andre Oya. So that's just the way he is, Mike. So I just thought I'll swallow it. It's going to be a long 6 months. Yeah. But let's get on with it and hope to keep yourself fit and wait for the opportunity, which never come. But luckily enough, the lads were doing pretty well. The training, we were, I think, we're 13 or 14 points clear. Before Christmas, but then after the January, it all turned. And speaking to the players, that they all lost him. He was obviously not going out there to sort of lose the league, but things started creeping in, and the players were getting very unsettled. His mannerisms, he's upset, and he wanted to put his authority on the senior play that we had there. And I think from the last game of the season, we were third, and we won the goal by a goal because we won 5-1. So, he won the league, but he sacked him straight away. Yeah, the PSV knew that's not the level. We don't do that. We don't do that. And at the time, he come the first person to play for all three big teams, Feyenoord, Ajax and PSV, and I manage all three. I'll probably get sacked by all three. Yeah. So it was when he came to the club. I've never spoke to Ken White in my life, but now with my new job, I'm sort of consulting an agency. Yeah. Locally, I've got a few good players there. We've got a few other Everton lads as well. Hopefully, they're going to do well in the future. And I got an opportunity to speak to Bill, and I just explained my thoughts on Ronald, and he basically said, "Well, Mashiri wants him. It's his number one target." And I go, "Fair enough, but you're being warned. The players won't take to him, rightly or wrongly. It just seems to happen. It's followed him at quite a lot of clubs. Around even at Valencia, he spent a lot of money and left them in a little bit of dire straits, and they still haven't built their stadium because he spent the cash on players that weren't good enough." And he said there was warning signs there, but I think Mashiri, reading between the lines, probably heard his name getting shouted about to take over at Wenger, and probably thought he was the right man. So I was really hoping that Koeman would prove me wrong, and he did have a good season under Southampton the year before. Again, he lost a lot of players that summer. But as I said before, the Dutch managers are used to losing 6 or 7 players every year and getting a team together. The problem with the Dutch style, I feel, is if things start going wrong, they don't seem to know how to handle it or turn it around.
Yeah, I think
if you have a settled side, when a new manager comes in, everyone's up, everyone's trying to prove the point, and everyone's trying to, impress the manager. And then when it sort of gets settled a little bit and things don't go as way as planned, there's no sort of, I can't see any charisma. They sort of start pointing the blames and pointing.
Got that arm around the shoulder.
No, I mean, there's a few. Yeah, I think Van Gaal was similar at United. The standard you've got to play. It's not my fault you can't play that level. That was their attitude. Which is in a way because they used to play. Sort of managing, top players, or they've been a top player. They expect their players to be able to do a certain level. If they can't do it, you can't do the arm around the shoulder to get the best out of them. And being a manager, I think that's. You've got to have that in your locker. You've got to have somebody in your staff to have that. If you want to be the good cop, bad cop, your job as a manager is to get the best out of your playing squad, and I think he sort of failed to do that.
Yeah. If you were in the Everton dressing room now, just following on from Koeman, and especially since you've played under Koeman or been with Koeman, who would you be looking out of these targets that we're getting linked with at the moment to come in? Would you have a preference? Is there anybody you want us to bring in, or?
I think it's a massive. I've got to do the echo column. And I find it difficult with this question because I think the board. I think because of the lack. Oh, not the lack. I'll say lack. The recruitment side of things was such a failure. They took a gamble on bringing Koeman in, which a lot of hope was the right person, because I do think Ronald. For his bad points, I think we've gone from one manager who was sort of too nice to Ronald for two. So the players were sort of fighting, I think, to and fro from one to the other. I think in the end, I think Ronald's handling of Ross wasn't good. But at the time, I thought it might have helped Ross. Because I think probably sort of pest him with all the good bits about him that might make him a little bit too big, and he comes out a bit too confident, and I think he's maybe too big for his boots in some performances. Like he just needs to track back. Where our Dutch manager will expect Cocu to track back, who's 36. So we can't. If Ross is not doing it, he's got what's he done in his career. That's how they will think. What have you done? You've only played 50 games for the club. You haven't won anything. So. I thought that might have been a reaction for Ross to go, you're okay. Early on in our conversation, where Walter said, when you're a young kid, you do get away with a lot of little mistakes here and there that don't really get noticed. But as you start creeping into the England team and start getting a little bit older, you need to iron these problems out. And I think Ross has struggled to do that. And I think Ronald's handling in the end was wrong, but at the time I was a bit of a fan of it, thinking I think Ross now needs to nail down and start coming up with the goods. Which he didn't. But then Ronald's brought in players that I don't feel we needed. I just see Valencia coming all over again. Bringing in players that I don't think we needed was other priorities. We needed. Leighton has been a great servant for us, been a fantastic left back, but we were in Europe, so how are you going to expect Leighton to perform 8, 9 out of 10 Thursday and Sundays.
He's on the wrong side of 30 now.
We want to protect Leighton for that, for the important Premier League games, and when you start playing game after game, your form sort of dips a little bit, and you start getting into this sort of level where you're not doing anything bad, but you're not really putting into any of the games. And I just felt like we needed a cover for Leighton to give him a break. We obviously needed to replace Ron, but it wasn't just Ron. We let 3 strikers go. We let Valencia go. We let Kone go. We count those strikers. Lukaku. So you've got to, that's got to be a priority. And I think Koeman knew we had an open checkbook, so he was never going to say no to anything that got put in front of him. Really, and I think he just had too many pieces in the jigsaw to figure out. He probably thought Wayne could do the job for him up front as number 9, and Wayne's that's not his best position, and I know it's really disappointing, because now this season we just seem to be playing catch up, and now now they're trying to right from wrong, and it's a massive decision, because you can think, do we bring in someone short term? Are we in that much of a dire straits? Have we got that squad so poor that we need to bring in someone short term who knows how to sort of out of a mess,
like the Allardyce type character,
people like that. But then, do we trust him in January to bring in a striker? Because whoever comes in still need to get a striker in January. So who are we going to attract in January? And then if Allardyce, whoever else short term comes in and does half decent job, that's another payoff. And then we've got to bring in the right man, who we hope for in the summer, and then he might not like the signings that we made in January. So it's a perfect man for me. Is someone who, I don't know if there's anyone out there but he's got Premier League experience, because even Guardiola struggled with the Premier League. He's got a fantastic squad, but wanted to play a certain way, but he still struggled to adapt, and now he's running away with it. Now he's sussed it. But last season he struggled with his team, and how the Premier League sort of goes about games and what he was used to in Germany and Spain. So I don't really want another manager coming in that doesn't know the Premier League. But then I want a top manager who's going to be able to attract someone in January and for the summer. But if these managers who've got that calibre, if they ever thought of sort of relegation before, probably not, because they've always had probably the highest calibre of players to play a certain style to win things, and I want that winning mentality. So it's a very difficult one for the board to come up with. At the moment we're talking about Marco Silva, and I feel.
What's your opinion on Silva?
It's obviously I'm going to support him if he comes through. You know what I mean? I just feel like there could be someone there. I think with the amount of money they seem to be spending on managers seems to be outrageous when we haven't got a striker. I think the cost of Koeman was pushing £35 million. We had to pay Southampton, 5 million. He was on 6.5 million a year wages, and we have to pay Martinez £10 million. So you're thinking, for £35 million, surely could we just give someone 15 million a year, 2-year contract, someone good? Because is there anyone out there? Please, you know what I mean? I know the Chan has swallowed a lot of ones, but I don't fancy Pellegrini. I think he struggled with City. I don't think he's Everton. I think the fans want to. I think Ronald lost the fans quite early on. When Ronald first come, the pre-season games, a couple of went to, they were singing his name, and then as the season got on, there was not even one chant towards Ronald. So we lost the fans very early on. So I think that's going to be very important that the manager sort of gets to know us. I don't like what Ronald done by living in Manchester, and there's reasons that you want to be away from it. But when the going gets tough, you don't know what's going on in the city, and if you're off swanning away in Manchester having your dinner, you don't know what's going on in the heart of the club.
Oh yeah, it's just avoiding any.
The manager does. Isn't he? It's very easy to sort of go, well, that's work. As I said, that's the Dutch mentality. Go in for work and worry about it then, and off field you don't. But I think Premier League, it doesn't happen that way. It's 24/7, and I just want the new manager to come in and I like what Martinez done. by getting, asking how would to come in.
Yeah.
Getting the feel of what the club are about, asking the right questions. Speaking to Phil Royal, putting the winning sides up. In big pitches in Finch Farm to demand the players that are coming through and coming in. Look, this is what we're all about.
Yeah.
This is where we want to strive to, where we want to be. So I'd love a manager to come in and just get to know us and get the fans going, but obviously got that name or the credibility to attract the players that we need in January and in the summer, and then hopefully in the following year we're in Europe, that he's got the European ounce. People have spoke about Ron Dicey. He's done fantastically well at Burnley, but Burnley and Everton, they're two different clubs in my eyes.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel that he's probably got a job for life at Burnley, and if he comes to Everton, does well for a couple of years, does he really think that the machinery might go, well, now we're in Europe, we're pushing, off your pot, and we want to bring someone else and take us to the next level again? So it's a gamble for him as well.
I think the pressure would be on him straight away, wouldn't it? Just because I don't think 100% of the fan base will be behind him, because, as you said, is he the right guy? If you think about manager, I know like this, obviously Ancelotti hasn't got a club, but we've got to be realistic here. But ask the question, throw money at him. Yeah, of course.
There's nothing available for him. Throw money because someone's going to get him, and he's not going to stay long term, but he'll get a bit of mentality at the club where to be at. Yeah. It shows different levels in different clubs. Bayern Munich, they were top of the league, but not playing the way they play as a club, so they sacked them.
Yeah.
That's different all around Europe. How Zidane was winning everything 18 months ago. Now he's under pressure. They're off. They're expecting, and our club needs to be. We don't deserve the right to be like that yet, but we've got to start thinking that way. And I think.
Were you a little bit surprised that maybe Tuchel, the former Dortmund manager, hasn't been linked a little bit more with the job?
Yeah, it was. I think he's distanced himself from anything, hasn't he? So it's gone pretty quiet. But it is something. Again, it's a gamble with the Premier League situation. Yeah. That would worry me. But you need these. Where are these strikers that we're going to be bringing in? Because I think if you've got a high-profile manager on the phone, it'd be very difficult for them to turn around and say no. Yeah. They only want to. Speaking to lads when you go to the pub, Benitez's name gets popped up about. I don't want him anywhere near us. But he knows the Premier League. He's got the European now, so it's sort of him, but not him.
Yeah. So the phone of him has nothing to do with.
Yeah, so somebody knows what the Premier League's all about, and but then you can start building a team for the next 3 or 4 years. This season has been a nightmare, but it shouldn't be written off yet. We can still finish, in that, but in a way, you don't really want to be in Europe again next year. I think it sort of puts a downer on everyone, but we want to finish 8th. We want to finish 9th. We still get that gap if we get a run of games going. Yeah. And that will attract players. Our next season, our next level is to go to where we wanted to be this season. They're pushing for the top 6 and the top 4. Yeah. Push them as much as we possibly. We have to wait till next season for that to happen now. But if you're finishing bottom half of the table, you're going to struggle to attract the players that we want, and it's just going to delay sort of where we want to be at. It's just been very disappointing because it's been so positive, especially when the new guy come in with Sheary, and there's positive talk about the ground. Yeah, we started buying a lot of players. There was money coming in. There was singing songs about how much money we've got. Yeah. And, it was exciting times. And then just the way we started this season, it just put a bit of downer, and it sort of pressed the pause button a little bit and probably gone backwards. Yeah. So whoever comes in, I think, the players, they can't be that poorly, but just our performance have been so poorly. It's been very disappointing. So I think the lads need to take a lot more responsibility, go back to basics, and remember, what they needed to do to sort of keep the level up. And I just really feel that they're stuck in too many styles, from Martins to Koeman to say Unzi. They're sort of, we're not all on the same hymn sheet at the minute.
Do you feel that we need to strengthen
no rhythm.
Back?
It's even last season. We had a team, at that. But then it only takes one suspension, a couple of injuries, and you're like, oh, yeah. And you realise how sort of fragile we are, and that's what I really hoped for this summer, was to have 22 players and you can play in every position, and you're causing sort of not problems. You can't have problems with the manager, but rivalry in training. So if you don't play well Saturday, mate, I'm playing.
Yeah.
Put that pressure on. But we got so many players that have got. It doesn't matter how they play, they're going to be playing each week. So there's no one to come in and do a better job. And I just feel the back four, it's difficult. If you chopping and changing the back four, it is really important to have the same set of side. But there's been so many under par performances and mistakes. Williams has been, so many mistakes, so I can understand why they dropped him. And then Jags has come in and hasn't fulfilled his potential again. He's struggled, and Keane struggled. I think all three of them, they're making so many mistakes, especially the Watford game that was when I was sat in the park end with my brother that game, and I could see what Watford were doing after 2 minutes, and we never done anything to stop it. We played two sitting midfielders who you presume is to press the ball, but also protect the ball getting into the striker's feet. And the centre half of passing the ball not through the air, on the ground to the striker's feet, and they was turning Keane, he's turning Jags or William, going, where's the leadership? Why isn't anyone shouting?
Yeah.
The two lads said, maybe they'll just stand here, stop that ball for us. It's a simple decision that can stop how Watford were playing, and every build-up from the full-back to centre-half, that's how they done it. And then we never learned, because we went to Palace, and Zaha gets a chance to just pick the ball up, turn and run into the box and tap it in. And there's, as a full-back here, we see, stop crosses, that's your job. But sometimes the build-up play, you just can't stop the cross, and the centre-half needs to acknowledge, well, we're not going to stop that cross, so where's my man? Not one of them look for the man, they're all ball watching, and he peels off and taps it in, and that's not young kids. No. That's what are supposedly 2 England internationals. Yeah. And it's basic stuff, and it's stuff that if they were talking of being the leaders that they're supposed to be, that situation wouldn't have even happened. There would have been a ball by Powers being passed backwards or sideways. Yeah. So it's little things like that are not getting sort of stamped on. And I said it in the column today. If I was in the video room and I was Keane or Jagielka, I'd be embarrassed watching that. Yeah. Because I can know what I'd know what to say by just going, just step to the right, where was Snyder and where was Gay, to stop that ball. I know they're chasing the ball down a lot, but then that's their job. It's a basic thing of just do your jobs first, because we're struggling. We need to sort of be compact together, help each other out, and then as the game gets on, hopefully get a bit of rhythm, start creating a few chances. Yeah. But there's no partnership at the minute. There's no fluency. There's no sort of identity at the minute. I feel that's probably because they're chopping and changing of managers, but the senior players know that. And they know what's going on, and they need to sort of stand up and go, and have a bit more pride about themselves. You can see they're trying. They're trying. You can see, but it's like they're trying, but we're 2 yards too late because they're not set up properly. We're not being brave enough off the back. We're far too deep at the back, and we're making it too difficult for our midfielders to get any pressure on. Yeah. So if you just play that extra 5 yards further forward, Pickford, he's had a fantastic season. He's been probably our best player, but he's letting too many goals, and because of the way we're defending, we're playing far too deep. So anything that goes in behind our defence, it's basically a goal or a shot on goal. So he's having a busier time. If we play further, 5 yards further forward, push the midfielder tighter and get in people's faces and don't let them settle, which I think obviously we're trying to get them to do. But as the game goes on, we just seem to sort of go back into our old little ways again, whether it's the Koeman ways, and I can just see some players are playing one style and one's playing the other. Who we need to bring in, every player's going to start react. That new reaction is going to happen. Yeah. And I feel if we do get a long-term manager in now, it will be, going to be a bit of a gamble for us. But I think it was better because the players know that he's going to be the manager for at least the next 2 years. So they need to prove to him that they want to be on that pitch. Yeah. And if they're not, shut off, go. Yeah. If you want to moan about it or go to the press every time you go international duty and have a moan, do you want?
We know about that.
Yeah, I don't understand why they did, because Kevin Morales comes in and scores 15 goals a season. I go, fair enough. Yeah. No, his job is to create chances and score. He hasn't done it. How many chances has he been given over the last few years? He's got talent. The boy's got really talent, but he only shows it in parts. And then he goes away to Belgium and spouts his mouth off. And he hasn't done nothing. I don't think he scored 10 goals for us in one season.
No, that's a fair point.
It's very poor. It's very, like, at the end of the day, Koeman brought players in because he gave Ross Barkley a lot of stress over that, was it productivity? That word he loved saying.
Yeah, he did.
But we've got worse. You know, we've got, and we're not creating any more than we were last season. So when they're out of the team, when they come in, they've got to make an impact. You know, Lookman started the weekend. I felt sorry for him because he shows glimpses, but again, it's no settled side. You're on your own, doing your own little things. So hopefully we can just get a settled team and go, look, we're just going to play this way. Let's be brave and be strong and get at them and get a bit of fluency going in, because I think the chopping changes from no wingers, then with all from two wingers. You know, it's we don't really know what's going on from one week to the next, and it's just really disappointing, frustrating what's happened this season. But the players just need to take a bit more responsibility. So I mean, no matter this, but I really think if they get a long term one, it will be better, because if you get a short term one, I don't know, say Allardyce, we spoke about before, and Morales to say not involved and on the bench or out the squad. Yeah. He's just going to go, well, I'm going to outlast you, so I'm not going to bother trying. Yeah. I'll wait till the summer.
I mean,
but then there might be a game that we probably need Morales to come in. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so hopefully we don't go short term. It doesn't look like we're going to go short term now, but there was a scare a few weeks ago that we were looking that way. So if Marco Silva comes in, it's going to be a gamble, because we don't know what he's going to be able to do if he gets us up to that league. But we've done well at Watford, and he tried his best to pull, but I haven't another step up again.
Was the appeal ever there for you to get involved in the coaching side of things?
No, it wasn't really. I should have really done them when I was injured. When I had a bit of time, I should have got involved and done it a little bit. But
I always thought it was going on now, of course.
Yeah, I always thought it wasn't really me. I wish I could rather go from nothing to manager, which is never going to work. You've got to earn your stars and stripes, I suppose. But I would never be a coach. I always, even being a player, I couldn't. It's a tough job. I went to do my badge. It only lasted 3 days. I had to come over. That component, one of the components here, and put it into a phase of play. I went, what have you just spoke to me about? What? Well, I've got to explain it to other people. I'm going to be cheating them and myself. Yeah. Because, I'd love to be a number 3 in a changing room. Going round. I'm more of a one-to-one person, I think. I was like that as a player. Yeah. I wasn't good sort of stand up and talking in front of a lot of lads or whatever, but one-to-one, I was always sort of putting little pointers in there, into the young kids, even to the senior players, just go around and to each one. So I would like to do that possibly in the future, but you need your badges still to do that. So it's probably an avenue I'd never sort of go down.
I feel like we're out of time a little bit, but I just want to give an honourable mention to Manchester City, because I know they've probably got in your heart. Am I right in saying your oldest son, Michael, does he support Manchester City?
He's he's not a man. Well, everyone said that's because he started going to the game a lot more. He was obviously too young when I was at Everton, and Rangers, BSV and stuff, and I was obviously City. He was obviously going to the game with my family and stuff, and so we started. Well, he's still an Everton fan. He had the season ticket, so he's still going to the Everton game. Yeah. But then everyone said, well, he only supports him because he played there. I went, no, he never. He said he started supporting him when I left. So, I think he followed the money. I think it was the signing of like the Dino or the Guerrero sort of.
It was an exciting
got him a little bit,
wasn't it, for him?
Yeah, so I give him some stick, but he's still got there's a toffee in there somewhere, but it failed as a father, not to keep him as a loyal bloke.
We'll let you off.
But so
one final thing I wanted to ask you, if you could go back to, when was it? I think it was April '97 when you made your debut, and redo your whole career again, would you? And if so, would you change anything? Would you live it all again?
No. Yeah, you would. It was a dream come true.
Yeah.
You know, my dream was to obviously captain Everton in England. That was a kid's dream. I never managed to sort of do that, but I got close. You know,
Yeah.
I played for my boyhood team. You know, I'd love to got me. You know, you always wanted to have a testimonial. You know, that was you know, you wanted to have, back then it was a big thing, wasn't it? To play for your club, and playing for Everton for 10 years was always something I've always wanted to do. And I was so close to returning a few times, but it just never seemed to happen. So that I'm disappointed about, but I wouldn't change anything really. There's no sort of regrets, anything. It happens. I was lucky enough to play football, the job that every boy wants to do, and so in that sense, now you live it all over again, and probably twice as much.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries, no problem, mate, no problem.
And I enjoy the rest of your day anyway, and I'll give you a shout over Twitter when it goes up.
Right, spot on. All right, thanks very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye.
It was a genuine treat to listen to some of Bally's stories there. Thanks to Bally and indeed you, the listener, for tuning in. If you've listened via YouTube, please like and subscribe to Toffee Blues page. If you have any stories about Bally, leave them in the comments below. If you were listening via podcast, please do leave a rating, because trust me, we need them. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.